Swinging a ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it. He underhands to first, and the Boston Red Sox are the world champions for the first time in 86 years.
Together they have, and together they stand alone on top of the mountain for now. And once again, the Boston Celtics stand alone for all time. It is banner 18.
No icing. For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
And a title for the Patriots!
I can't believe it!
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Good evening, listeners. Welcome into episode 40 of a New Era podcast. My name is Hanson, better known as Fryddy Online, and I am joined this evening by my dad and co-host, the OG Frid. Dad, would you like to say hello to the listeners this evening?
Yeah, good evening, listeners. Good evening, newbies. Geared up for a fun-filled episode 14. What am I saying? 40.
40. Did you say 14? You cut out there for a second, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I while I'm looking at the darn screen, I see how delayed I was, and I don't know why I said 14. I have no idea.
All right. Well, no problem. It is episode 40. Crazy to think we're already at the big 4-0. 12 more until a full year of a new era. That's actually nuts to think about. But that's good because we're getting into the best time of the year here, Dad.
Yeah, we're getting close to my year.
Your year, your birthday.
Wow, how old I am.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
How old I am.
Right, episodes wise. Yeah, great. That'll sneak up quicker than we
got it. Yeah, when we have that one, it's got to be a big party or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. But I say because we're getting into the best time of the year now, we're having a bunch of these Boston sports teams overlap. Red Sox season may be dead, but we got the Bruins starting up this week. We got the Celtics starting up in a couple weeks, and we're right in the midst of the Patriots season. So a lot to talk about every week, a lot to fill our time, and that's not even including the crazy college football season that's occurring right now as well.
Yeah. I think obviously when we started this, and then you came up with the name and somewhat of the concept was, I think, based on the way the Patriots new regime, new era, hence we call us a New Era podcast. But I think a lot of it and a lot of the talk and idea at the beginning was based on our Bruins and our Celtics and what they were doing. I remember we greatly enjoyed talking about the Bruins. Yes, being down here in the Carolinas and not always able to watch, but thank you ESPN Plus so we can watch a Bruins game. But for me, I really got back into hockey these last couple of years because of our Bruins.
Me too. And, it's crazy to say, I was just thinking about this as you were talking about, the New Era name was mostly inspired by the Belichick move on to Mayo. And, because it made sense around the time that we were starting. But it's kind of crazy to think about. We've gone through this year now, right? And now we've been able to cover all four of the major teams. But you almost think, I'm thinking like, I don't know if I'm just trying to force this, but the Boston sports are all morphing into something like a new era. We see a new era with the Red Sox coming up with the big five down there in the minors and what we saw and talked about all throughout this season and the young guys, the young prospects, but also the young stars and Duran and Devers that could continue to build us to be a great team, and we get to see a new World Series window. We see a new era with the Celtics, who are about to go into a year trying to go back-to-back, just being the powerhouse that they are. But you saw them just all get better throughout the offseason, and I'm so excited to see them continue to dominate the NBA in what I think will be another year of this. and leading into our Celtics window, a new era of championships from them. The Patriots one, obviously, we've talked about, but then even with the Bruins, and I'll use this to segue us into our first talking point, with the signing of Jeremy Swayman and the move from Allmark and, the additions made in free agency this year with Lindholm and Zadorov mostly, a new era for hopefully Bruins hockey that's going to get us above that edge. And with these guys that we have under these contracts, along with Pasta and McAvoy and, Swayman now and some of the other guys, like we talked about Laurie and we're always going to fuck up his name. Matthew Poitras, or however we're going to say it. I know it's going to be wrong, but it might lead into a Stanley Cup window and of finally getting above that hump, being able to, get past the Panthers of the last 2 years and have us walk into a new era of Bruins hockey. It's kind of crazy to think about. It's all worked out in our favor here.
And talk about our four major sports that we cover. Not ownership wise, because there's some, obviously, Red Sox are issues. Celtics obviously being put up for sale. I think obviously the most consistent will be the Crafts. And while the Bruins have been for years consistent, but management or coach wise, it'd be interesting to see how they act in these new eras. I mean, obviously we have fantastic coaches, I think, with both winter sports.
All four, really, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Alex Cora, it'll be great to see, especially with his contract extension, seeing what he does with these young stars. And, I got to give it up to Drake Maye. I know I'm jumping. We'll get back into the Bruins, and talk about the Patriots more. But, every time I pull something up and look, he takes ownership of what the hell they're doing. And he just says, we have to do better, and we have to do better as coaches. So I like our coaching group, all four.
That's so cool to think. We should do a segment in one episode in the future where we got to power rank the coaches of cities. Because if you think about Missoula, Mayo, Montgomery, and Cora, I mean, dude, what a fucking four. There's obviously there's some good coaches in some other cities, but you talk about, all four of your major sports. God, that'd be a fun conversation. It's something you couldn't do right off the dome here, but that'd be fun. All right. Well, like I was mentioning, Swayman, the biggest news of the weekend, it was finally Sway Day yesterday, October 6th. Great day. Right. It was, I texted you yesterday about it.
Yeah.
Swayman, 8 years, 8.25. And it's crazy because I just want to, pat ourselves on the back, because last week when we finally talked about the contract situation and about how Bruins didn't want to budge above 8, Swayman was looking for that 8.5. We saw some of the rumored numbers that Bruins originally didn't want to go above 6.75, blah, 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 all that talk. And we came to the conclusion, we said, at 8 years, for $8.25 million, if you slide it across the desk, it will get signed. And I think I said that, and I think you signed off on it too. We were like, that's going to get it done. And they might be listening to us because it is actually the contract terms that we got. We've got our guy back in net, and there's actually a possibility, apparently. Montgomery said Monday that Swayman could potentially start for the Bruins tomorrow against the Panthers in our opening night game. Montgomery has previously announced that Corpuzalo would start the opener, but that was when Swayman's contract stalemate was still going on. It's still undecided. They're both on our opening day roster. First off, I'll ask you two things. One, who do you think does get the start tomorrow? And then two, how do you feel about the contract situation finally getting done and at the terms that we said was going to get it done and get the offer signed?
I think that obviously, I think he was never going to get larger numbers for a long-term deal. But I know he's doing it for his future goalkeepers out there. But I think the longevity and the money, yeah, it's a great win for both the organization and for him. And if I'm not mistaken, I think some of it is guaranteed as well. I think that's what he wanted too, right? Some guarantee type money in it. And, yeah, it just puts him being, in the net for the foreseeable future. See if he can be that full-time, number one, not do this split, take a majority of the games. And with that being said, what better way to get into the Florida Panthers' head than to start him?
Maybe this was the plan all along.
without a preseason, and do the shit that he did against you before, and just continue to be in your head. That'd be fantastic. I mean, the fans are going to be that barn is going to be.
Oh, it's going to be loud. I mean, granted, we are in Florida and it is their like ring ceremony and the banner and shit. So it'll be loud for them, but the Bruins fans, they're going to travel for this.
I think there'll be enough Bruins fans down there. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. You mentioned the guaranteed money. I wasn't too sure about the guaranteed money, but I do have it here. Deal is worth $8.25 per season, reportedly $23 million in bonuses and a no trade clause. Here's how it's actually broken up every year. Year one, $6 million base, $4 million signing bonus. Year two, $6 million base, $4 million signing bonus. Year three, 5.5 base, $2 million signing. Year four, $5 million base, $3 million signing. Year five, 5.5 million base, 2.5 signing. Year six, 5.5 base, 2.5 signing. Year seven, 5 million base, 2.5 signing. Year eight, 4.5, 2.5 signing. Year 3 to 6, he's got a no move, no trade clause. Year 7, 10 approved team list. So he could be traded to any of those 10 teams. And then year 8, he gets a 10-team no trade list. And it covers 2 years of restricted free agency, 6 years of unrestricted free agency. So I think the bonuses are the guarantee that we're talking about. Those will probably equate to the $23 million. I said, and that's probably the guaranteed stuff. Obviously per year, but even if not, I think it still hits. He might then. I feel like this would be how it worked if we cut him year 4. Base doesn't hit our cap, but the signing bonus would, and he would still get that. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, everything that you were saying also correct. I'm happy to have him back, get him back out there against the Panthers, to really give us a good shot at upsetting them at home. I think it's an upset. I'm pretty sure we're the underdog on their banner night. Fuck these guys, man. We talked about it all last year and during the playoffs. I hate this team. I really can't stand the Florida Panthers. And then how much better than to bring a guy 79, 33, and 15 overall career record, 2.34 goals allowed, 9.19 save percentage, well-deserved money, and happy that he's going to be back there anchoring our defense for the next 8 years, hopefully. You got something?
So I'm sitting here and I know that we're going to do like we did with the Red Sox, our predictions, and we'll do it when the Celtics come in. But as I'm looking at the schedule, this week, obviously the Panthers and then 2 at home, Canadians and Kings. And then next week, next Monday, the Panthers come to visit us. And Saturday, October 19th, just struck me. Bruins at Utah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. I feel like this line.
That's cool. That is cool to see Utah.
I think this lines up perfectly too, and we can get into our look ahead here. So we got the Panthers, like you said, tomorrow, opening night, first game on ESPN. They got one at 4:00. I can't remember who plays. I think Utah actually plays tomorrow night though against like the Blackhawks in the nightcap game, which would be kind of cool. I'm so ready to bet on hockey again.
They don't have a name yet?
No, it's just a hockey club.
Why didn't I thought they were doing this big thing to get their damn nickname?
No, I think they're gonna do it like next year. So I think this lines up perfectly though. You get the Panthers if Swayman plays.
Yeah.
And then you probably play him again. No, maybe you do Corpuzalo against the Canadians. They fucking stink anyways. And then second home game. No, because I was going to say you're not going to do Swayman back-to-back. So maybe you do Swayman Panthers, Swayman Canadians, Corpuzalo Kings, and then you have Swayman again at home against the Bruins against the Panthers. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Can't escape the fucking guy. All right, so we'll look at it here. Can I get some odds, actually? Let me pull up some NHL hockey betting odds because it's that time of the freaking year again. And I'm so excited. I don't know about you. I think I had told you last year. I got hot at the start of the year with hockey. I think at one point I was like 44-19-1 with a push. I love betting hockey. It's I'm gonna get back my money that I lose on fucking football every week now. All right, so tomorrow we got Bruins at Panthers. Bruins plus 126 money line, Panthers minus 152 over under set at 5.5. You forgot to answer my question on the last one. So give me who you think starts in net for this one.
I told you Swayman.
Oh, you do think it's? I thought you were just saying it would be funny. Okay.
No.
Well, then with Swayman in net, give me your prediction for tomorrow night.
It's gonna be a tight one. I would definitely take the under. I don't think 5.5. This is probably a 2-1, 3-1 type of game. I would take that under, especially with both of these goalies in that. I think like in most sports, although yes, Swayman hasn't had a preseason, but I think the defense and the goalies are going to be just a tad bit better than your offensive side. You're still looking for combinations. You're still looking for chemistry and play. So I would take that under. And yeah, man, we're a Boston sports podcast. We got to go for our teams. Got to take the Bruins.
What do you think we're going to do here, guys? We're not telling you to take the fucking Panthers on opening night. We hate this team. This is a Boston sports podcast. Hell yeah, I'm betting the Bruins tomorrow. I like your read on the under 5.5 too. You got to think though, if I can go back and remember it, I really feel like unders at the start of the season last year were printing money too. It takes them, a good 14 to 18 games until these offenses are really settling in and going to start putting them down. Obviously, they've been, at least for the Bruins preseason, 2-0, 4-1, 4-1, 3-2, 5-2, 4-2, 3-2. So you could say, oh, they're already warmed up, but this is also preseason. These aren't the lines. They're not gelling yet. But with that being said, I do think ours are going to gel out there. The ones that we talked about and loved last week on the episode. Literally love, if those are the lines that we see on opening night tomorrow, I'm going to love it. And I don't think realistically here, I know it's going to be game one for everybody, but if Swayman is back in net and you have those lines ahead of him, I don't think you can honestly think that Florida wins this game. And let me see if I don't think I'm mistaken, but I want to say they're dealing with some injuries too.
And yeah, those defensive pairings, which will be much better this year than last year. I can see I could see Montgomery putting out the right lines and just shutting them down.
Oh, they're not really dealing with me. They're just Thomas Nosek, a left wing. I thought at one point Tkachuk was kind of injured, but I think that was just nothing.
So I know that there's those sport books out there that are much more popular and can make more money. We should start our own, and at what point and what would be the odds that there will be either a fight or the first penalty, and who gets it at what point?
It'll probably be us. I would say we would get the first penalty. They're going to get a home whistle. But Pat Maroon's not on this team anymore either. So like, I don't know about the fights. We got some tough guys out there though. I'd love to see Zadorov beat the shit out of somebody tomorrow. Oh my God. I would fucking, he could get suspended for the whole game. He could get put in the box and not play. But if he just went out there right as the whistle started and just beat the shit out of Matthew Tkachuk, oh my God, I would love it. Oh my God, I would love it. That'd be a welcome to Boston type moment. All right, so I think we're both on under and obviously both on Bruins for tomorrow. I've got odds for the Thursday night game against the Canadians. They don't have any for Saturday, though, because that makes sense. They're probably not going to do 2 games ahead. But we got Bruins favored at home, minus 230 money line against the Canadians, plus 188. Over under for that one is set at 6.5. Juice to the under at minus 130.
Yeah, well, you just already mentioned the Canadians. We don't see them being anything stand up this year. And at a minus, what did you say?
We're minus 230, minus 230. Minus 1.5 goals spread is plus 112.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a decent favorite going in at that.
It's a decent puck line price too, plus 112.
Yeah. I would again. We got to continue the Bruins. I think if we are going to lose one, it will be the Saturday night game Saturday matinee game against the Kings.
It could be. Let me take a look here. I'm also going to agree with you here, though. We're going Canadians or going against the Canadians, taking the Bruins. I'm not taking Canadians plus 188, even if you wanted to get funny with a little upset. I don't think that's a good price for them. I would lay the minus 1.5 puck line for the Bruins. You get covered with an empty netter at the end of the game. See maybe a 4-2 game, 4-1 game, maybe even 3-1. Knowing like if we're still going to play kind of the same slow paced hockey that it seemed like we were playing to end the year last year. But an empty netter there will seal the deal at plus money, plus 112. Home opener for the Bruins. You know it's going to be loud. It's the Canadians, the rivalry of it. Yeah, I think you're getting a great price there. I might have to bet that tonight before we see how the Bruins play tomorrow, and those odds are shifted accordingly. But then you mentioned the Kings Saturday. Like I said, I don't have any odds for it yet. The only thing I was worried about was potentially if they were making the West Coast to East Coast trip, but it looks like they play at Buffalo on Thursday night, and then they play at Boston Saturday. So with that being said, yeah, I think if we're going to drop any, that's them. I did like the Kings. I liked the Kings last year. I was telling you that throughout the playoffs. I had a future bet on them to win the cup. Didn't happen, obviously. But yeah, I could see us losing that one, but then popping back out to beat the Panthers again. Monday matinee. Oh, let's go. Oh, that'll be great. Awesome. All right. Well, it's official. There's our first look ahead of the NHL season. I'm so ready to do this for 82 more games or 79 or whatever the fuck the math is right now. I don't care. We'll go very quickly over to the MLB playoffs, which are playing right behind me. This was a 0-0 game, but Tigers hit a home run, I think. They're up 3-0 right now in the bottom of the ninth over the Guardians with 1 out. Stephen Kwan at the plate. So that can time you, listeners, for where we're at right now when we're doing this. We talked about who we want to win with the Red Sox out last week, but I don't think we gave like our full bracket predictions. So we'll go from where we're at now at the AL and NLDS. We got the Tigers and the Guardians, like I said, playing right now. That game might end up going in Detroit's favor and tying the series up 1-1. Royals-Yankees play in about 45 minutes. Yankees are up 1-0 there. Mets-Phillies are tied at 1-1 after Phillies' phenomenal comeback last night. Let's go for my World Series ticket. Need them in that parlay. And then Padres-Dodgers 1-1 after the Padres whooped that ass of the Dodgers last night to even up that series. So we had the Tigers pull through. I think we said we wanted to believe in the Tigers because of the whole magic and the story. I think we both did pick the Astros to get through there.
No.
So So
and I wanted Baltimore out to come out of this against the Padres in the end. Obviously, Baltimore did not. I spent the day out on a golf course for a charity event, and I was with a Detroit Tiger fan, and yeah, they're pulling it out tonight. He said they need to win tonight. Tonight's a must-win game, especially with who they were throwing. And now you go back to Detroit tied at 1.
I know last week I bet the Tigers both days and they won it, and then I just decided to bet fucking Guardians live, and I knew I shouldn't have. I don't know why I did it. About in the 6th inning, I was really stupid. I should have took the Tigers. They've been winning me so much money. I did think I said the Royals were coming out of this one though. I said they were going to lose to the Yankees, but I said because I was rooting for the Royals. I will say I didn't see this being a sweep. I thought the O's were going to take one. 2 very low-scoring games, but yeah, man. I mean, the Royals earned their way out of that one. Great pitching. Their offense is going to need to, get working a little bit to be able to stack up with these Yankees. Mets. Well, then who do you have coming out of these ones? Then do you have Guardians pulling out the series? Because I think by the time we do our episode next week, all these series may be done.
Yeah, I think obviously, and I saw something weird. I think it was on Twitter or what. Something about the payroll of the Tigers, all payroll versus some pitcher. I think was on the Astros. Their payroll was about the same. I like this young team, and it would be great for the city of Detroit, and they just won. Be great for the city of Detroit to have another one of their teams. Obviously, the Pistons are going to take forever to get back into that talk of championship type of teams. But yeah, I'm going to pull for the Detroit Tigers to win this one, come out of this series, and unfortunately, and it's amazing to see how great the AL Central was, having 3 clubs this far in the playoffs, but yeah, the Yankees are too powerful to of a team to have anybody go through.
I don't know. I'm gonna. I know I said it. I said the Yankees would take them down, and I know they're up 1-0. But this is a Boston sports podcast, and I'm not going to fucking root on the Yankees. We're going to take the Royals in the series. We're going to take them to come back. They're winning tonight. I've actually got Royals money line too, so it coincides with that. But yeah, I'm also going to root on the Tigers, man. This is fun. And I really don't like the baseball fans being like, what a joke this AL side of the bracket is, and then go look at the NL, and it's just a bunch of powerhouse. Yeah, that's going to be real funny and age really well when the Tigers and the Royals are matching up in the ALCS. I said it last week. I believe in the magic, the magic of some postseason baseball and some of these teams of destiny in this sport more than any sport when it comes to the playoffs. So give me the magical Tigers and give me the power of friendship, Kansas City Royals, to meet in the ALCS next week. And then on the national league side of the bracket. Obviously, I'm going to say the Phillies, like I said last week.
Well, you're talking about
honestly,
a team of destiny, meaning the Mets are a damn big team of destiny. Obviously, the storylines that you could have, obviously, a Tigers, very low payroll, make it into the World Series. The Guardians, Royals, even, and then the dreaded Yankees, trying to win a championship after so many years of not. You could have the Yankees, Mets, Subway Series, Yankees, Phillies, I-95 type of series. Or you could do East Coast, West Coast. I think team of destiny, you're talking in the National League, the Mets, but I don't think they are going to be able to. I think their run, they had to have a magical run just to get in. I think some of these runs, if you have too many teams on these needed runs, the universe will say, something's not going to work. So we love the Tigers. I think the universe says squash the Mets, and the Phillies will continue on with that series. While we have, I think the series definitely to watch, and I've been watching the Dodgers and the Padres.
Yeah, I'm taking Phil. The Mets are going to Met it. The Mets are going to be the Mets.
Yeah.
I think honestly the Phillies should be up 2-0. The Mets pulled out a win in game 1. Phillies were toying with their food a little bit game 2, but still came back. Did lose the home field advantage there, but if they take one in New York, it's going to be fine. They get it back. Padres, Dodgers, this one, and I feel like we see these two teams match up every year in the playoffs. We see them 19 times during the regular season, and over the last couple of years, God, have they been a fun matchup to watch. And another thing in which, Dodgers made a comeback to win game 1, but I felt like the Padres did enough to win that game. And then they came out there and really flexed their muscles in game 2 and have the opportunity to take back home field advantage here with the series moving to San Diego. So, like we both said, and we're both rooting for them, we're taking the Padres, right, over the Dodgers here. I mean, I know they've got the firepower and everything, but don't be on your it's the number 1 seed versus the number 4. Let's not forget, only 5 games separated these teams in the NL West standings in the regular season. You have a handful of the games between them or within the division go differently, and the Padres could be the one hosting this series, and in that case, potentially be up 2 already.
The Padres have jumped on the Dodgers. Yes, I know they lost the first game, but both have been 3-0 Padre leads after the first inning. And Fernando Tatis Jr., oh my God, what a monster.
He is fun, man. He is a really fun player. But, all right, well, it seems like we agree then. We both got going in next week. Hopefully when all these series are wrapped up, we're going to be hoping to look for a Detroit, Kansas City ALCS and a Philadelphia, San Diego NLCS. And
I got the Yankees. I'm sorry.
Oh, you got the Yanks. Oh yeah, you did say that.
Yeah.
You fucking traitor.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what a jerk this
but
guy
then
is.
But then Detroit can beat New York. Wouldn't that be
don't
great?
save yourself now. Don't save yourself now. You had the opportunity. And you fucked it. All right. Well, that's enough about baseball. Dad, did you see? Were you watching this Patriots game? Did you see this Jalen Polk catch? That's not a catch. Apparently, there's some stupid rule.
Some rule. Yes. Rule is that if any part, hold on, here we go. If any part of the foot hits out of bounds during the normal continuous motion of taking a step, heel, toe, or toe, heel, then the foot is out of bounds. A player is in bounds if he drags his foot, or if there's a delay between the heel, toe, toe heel touching the ground. A delay or drag?
That's
What
weird to me. And apparently, like, because then this rule doesn't apply if it's on the side of the end zones. You have an easier time to drag. Polk literally went out of his way to almost break his ankle trying to get his toe in. You're telling me that's not enough to count that as a... He could have tried to drag his heel, but I think he was thinking about it the same way that we were. He's like, I'll just tap both toes and potentially break my fucking ankle right here, and that's going to work out even better. Stupid thing, man. I mean, what a way to lose that game. I saw the touchdown. We were out there watching it at our normal sports bar that we go to. Saw the touchdown. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Turn around. I'm watching the Baltimore Cincinnati game. Turn back about 5 minutes later. I see the score is back to 15-10. I was like, what the hell happened here? You're telling me that wasn't counted as a touchdown? That sucks. But also, the thing that came out of this, and even I think it was in right before the second. No, it was right at the end in the fourth on that last drive for Jacoby. He got hit bad for like the first play, and I was like, "Do you put Drake in here? Do you put him in to try to just launch one?" Let me hear your thoughts on the catch and on Polk's effort there as a rookie, young receiver to try to get his foot down. And then we'll move into the Drake conversation because, as Adam Schefter reported, there's a possibility he starts next week against the Texans.
Well, excuse me. I unfortunately did not see it and did not do any replays to see this potential catch or not. But obviously from everything you said, if the effort's trying to be there, it would be great if college football, now that they do the 2-minute timeout at the end of the second and fourth, if we could end up changing and doing 2 feet inbounds for college football. All right.
You ready to say this?
Play it. Yep.
I don't know if it's really going to show the whole toe tap, but that looks like 2, right?
Yeah.
So then, let me go look for one that actually shows the toe taps. Here. So we got one. There's the toe. And then you look at him. Look at him switch his whole foot to try to get the toe down. And then the heel hits outside. Apparently, there's something on the rule as well where if he's going in a forward direction and his heel hits first and then his toe out of bounds, it would still be a catch. But since he's moving, trying to make like a backwards motion or a backwards catch, as they put it, the heel also needs to be in bounds. I'm like, what the fuck sort of rules are we making up at this point?
You see guys drag their toe all the time on the sidelines. Why do you need to get the heel down?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's a toe tap.
You got your toe. Yeah. You got your toe down. Stupid little delay. And what's the delay? If he touches it and then somehow falls and then his heel touches a foot, 2 feet out of bounds, that's a catch. Again, we're going back to when, you talk about the Des Bryant thing there years ago. What is a catch?
Yeah, and I feel like we have this conversation in the league every 2 years now, and every time it's always like, well, I know that was our definition 4 years ago, but this time now you can get, one toe in and a shoelace and it's going to count, and all the rules just keep getting twisted as far as what's a catch. But to the naked eye, and not even just as a fan, I think everybody in the bar with me saw it. They were like, that's a catch. I don't know. It's confusing. The NFL agenda wants the Patriots to lose games.
you look at week 1, well, where the Baltimore tight end, now clearly he had his toe
He was out.
outside. That was out because toe hit first outside. It wasn't heel, then toe. But here, all the time you see guys trying to just get a toe down, and he did that. He got a toe down, and you would have thought that was fine. But yeah, then I guess what they're saying is, you hear, did they have complete control, the full, through the catch? Did he juggle it or whatever throughout?
The whole time through.
He had it the whole time, but I guess then it's that extra in per the rules, that extra little foot coming down her heel. That, that's a shame, because that's an outstanding opportunity, outstanding play on the young kid.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I'm moving on here too. The tweet from Adam Schefter heard around the world from Patriots fans today. Mike Reese tweeted out opinion/analysis. Notable shift in Drake Maye's answers regarding quarterback situation in his day after game video conference compared to past weeks. Maye said last week the way the team won its only game was unsustainable, and he seems to strongly be considering the switch to Drake Maye. Adam Schefter then goes on to quote it and says, quarterback change could be coming soon to New England with rookie first-round pick Drake Maye potentially starting Sunday versus the Texans. Number one, is this the right move? Number two, is the O-line going to protect him?
And that's a great point, because when I was out on the golf course and talking about our podcast to the players that I was playing with, and then we had discussed about the Patriots and, are they the worst team right now? Offensively, obviously, they're the worst team. The Panthers are putting up more yards and a couple more points, look a little bit more of an offensive, not juggernaut or weapon, but could play a little bit more, minus this past week against Cincinnati. But I think Andy Dalton, can move that offense. Jacoby just can't. He's lost a lot from his first time with us. I think I said week 5, week 6, didn't I? Drake would be in. The offensive line reshuffled, losing David Andrews now for the year, is going to definitely hurt. But it's odd to see that the run game has done well. They seem to be able to get off the line, push, have our running backs get some yards, but the pass blocking is not adequate at all. But if we're going to continue to be, which we said will be a run offense, I mean, at this point, you're 5 weeks in. Jacoby can be in your ear on the sideline. Alex Van Pelt can. Let's see what the kid can do. I think we've sat him enough. I think that obviously the direction is going to be him in the future. Let's just see what he can do the remainder. At 1-4 right now, and again, a hot Texans team, we could go 1-5. If he plays and loses, I'm not going to be like, oh, he's not. Have a game, learn, and play. So I think I said week 5, week 6 he'd be in.
Yeah, I think we both said that from the start. I had said the biggest thing to me was I wanted him to get past that 49ers game. Jacoby got fucking lit up there too. And that's exactly what I was hoping to protect Drake from. Now, granted, with the loss of David Andrews and a plethora of just other injuries that we're still having some inconsistencies there at the O-line. It's never going to be a perfect situation for him, and Drake's going to get hit, but he needs to experience those hits. There's a difference between wanting your quarterback to get hit and wanting your quarterback to get injured. I don't want Drake to get injured. He's going to need to take some hits, though. He's going to need to take some of those NFL grown man hits to put that in the back of his mind where it's like, all right, I can be a mobile guy. I can use my athleticism. If my pocket's breaking down, which it's going to a lot this year whenever he does get in and start dictating this offense, he's going to need to make some plays by himself with his feet moving outside the pocket. So I think it is a good time. You talk about a hot Texans team. The hot Texans team could potentially be without the best wide receiver in the league right now in Nico Collins through 5 weeks. So there is an opportunity to, pull one out. And I know this is going to be a rebuild. We know that the Patriots were not going to be, just red hot and like hit the fucking Texans turnaround and be a Super Bowl contender. However, you send a message to the fans if you're going to continue to throw Jacoby out there, knowing that at this point in the season, you most likely have a better option at quarterback that would put your team in a different position and probably a better position to win the games than where you're at right now. If you continue to throw Jacoby out there, we're fine with tanking. We're fine with losing. I know that we're going to lose games, and I know that we're not the best team in the league. However, I don't want my team giving up by week 5. Drake Maye is the better option right now. He's going to give us the better shot at winning games, especially on the offensive end and competing with some of these teams. And I think he needs to be in if you want to prove to the Patriots fans that the point of this season was not just to tank and rebuild. The point of every Sunday is to go out there and try to win the game against the team in front of you.
You look defensively, obviously we've had some standouts. They're talking about Christian Gonzalez continues to be a bright spot for the defense. Then the kid, Mape ended up 78 snaps with another, I think 12 of them, I read, on special teams. Defensively, you held, a pathetic Dolphin offense in Tyler Huntley to only 15 points. But I don't think if your defense can do that, and they've been around and kept teams, I mean, Cincinnati only scored 10. I mean, you have a great defense. If you can keep the points low and all you have to do is 17-20 to win, I mean, anything can happen. I think what's going to happen is with all you need to is with Drake's mobility, just his arm is so much more livelier than Jacoby's. If you can throw some long passes down, spread, that secondary is not going to be coming downhill to try and stop the run. That will open up our great running backs.
Exactly.
And then stop some of that pressure. Jacoby's only putting up 168 yards a game, 15 for 30. The arm is not there. Yes, he was your starter because Alex Van Pelt's offense, but we mentioned this. Alex putting in Drake has to change the offense. Drake has a more lively arm. Push the ball. Even with a depleted offensive line, if he can roll out, you'll probably see a lot of, rolling out to he won't be in the pocket. He's going to roll left, roll right. And if he could do that and launch it down to Polk, loosen up that defense, stranger things, because we have a great defense and great running game right now. Minus that 49ers game.
Because like you mentioned, when considering are we the worst team in football, offensively, yes. But that it comes with the fact that there is no threat of any downhill or any downfield, any explosive plays. There's no threat with Jacoby back there. There will at least be a threat with Drake, and I think that can bring us out of that cellar of being the worst offense, and potentially staying closer in some of these games. I say staying closer. We only lost against the Dolphins by 5, but that's not a team with Tyler Huntley at quarterback that you should be even losing by 5 to, you know. Lastly, before we get into a quick recap of week 5 here, you wanted to talk about the question of what went wrong so quickly between, let's just say, from week 1, from the win against the Bengals to right now. Obviously, the expectations going into the season weren't high, but you start off week 1 with a win against a Bengals team that should be good. Now, granted, we are also 1-4 with them right now, but they usually start off these years slow. But they have the talent, and you're able to squeak that one out. What went wrong so quickly after that with, the close loss to the Seahawks? Could have won that one. Jacoby takes a bad sack. Then you go down to the Jets. You just got absolutely reamed on Thursday night. Then you go play the 49ers. They need to get a get-back game. They need to get back to themselves. They do that to you. And then you have this heartbreaker against the Dolphins. To me personally, I feel like the common thing in all of that was a Jacoby Brissett, just like one play. But what about you?
No, I think that obviously it probably dates back as well to, the whole, once Tom left, who was going to be there to run an offense. And then, fortunately, we ended up getting Drake this year, but, you had Cam Newton, which was a total different offense running from Tom Brady. Mac Jones looked great his first year, but he had coaches that helped him along. And then his year 2, putting Matt Patricia in as offensive coordinator really stunted him. And I think as much as Bill Belichick is one of the, GOATs in the coaching circle, I think his personnel choices and his loyalty to his coaching tree is a larger fault, which then put us to where we are right now.
Yeah, you make a good point. It definitely set us back. I think part of it too, and yeah, we love Belichick, don't get me wrong. And he is the GOAT, and he led us to a bunch of great years, but could part of it be, maybe the ego of it, where I don't need to try to look for younger guys to set this team up for future success, because I think I'm going to be here for another 10 years and be able to revive the franchise. And then it turns into you're only there for 4, and then they finally mutually part ways. Who knows? You can't really pin it down. It could just be the guy that, older school coach wants to stick to his guys, stick to his guns, stick to what he knows, and wasn't really worried about what comes after that. But either way, some of the draft picks near the end of his reign, and just some of the talent that we've had come through since Brady left, has just not left us in a good spot. Whereas some teams, when they go out and they make their first round pick of the guy that they hope to be their franchise quarterback, have been rebuilding for a year or 2 before that, and have got a couple pieces around them. I feel like the Patriots really just raw dogged it with not much talent, grabbed the quarterback, didn't get the things to surround him yet, but was hoping that they can build off what they have. I hope it's not going to end up ruining Drake Maye like it did for Mac Jones, but you see other situations of other teams, like we talk about the Texans. Granted, CJ Stroud just had an incredible year, but they had the pieces around him. They built the team around him and then inserted the quarterback last. You got to focus on the trenches, got to focus on your lines. Get good defensive guys, get good defensive rhythm and chemistry there with where you're putting guys and where they're fitting in. And then you worry about the skill positions and the quarterback last once the supporting cast is all there. I don't think we did that to the fullest extent. And I just really hope it doesn't run its course again like it did with Mac Jones this time with Drake Maye.
Yeah, I mean, defensive-wise, I think he did well towards the end. Obviously, he fell in love with some of these, we talk about old school, but obviously he saw some of the versatility of Duggar and Mape and taking those guys. Obviously Christian Gonzalez as well. So, but he's always been, he's been a defensive genius all the way back to the Giants. And yeah, we were lucky we had Tom Brady, who helped a lot of potentially offensive flaws at the beginning. And then you end up having, Moss and everyone else wanting to be here because of him. Obviously, yeah, you could look, that was the biggest downfall, losing Tom Brady, but we would have had to at some point. I just wish that, we did that exercise last week of all these greats sitting, at the beginning. It's too bad we couldn't have found whoever is playing right now decent to sit behind Brady and then continue on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Enough about the Pats. We're going to run back into our NFL Week 5 rundown. We're going to try to do this a lot quicker than last week's. I think we got through it in like 7 minutes. Let's see if we can cut it down. The fastest, what did we try to do? The fastest 3 minutes in football? Fastest 2 minutes.
Fastest 2 minutes.
We're not going to get 2 minutes, but we might get 3. Starting off here, London game, the Jets and the Vikings go across the pond. Vikings improved to 5-0. Aaron Jones goes down with an injury, but Aaron Rodgers and the Jets seem to not be able to figure it out. Jets are going to jet. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't watch it. But again, Sam Darnold has been lighting it up, doing very well. And yeah, we said it earlier, the Jets are going to jet away to lose. So I don't care if you have, jet. Yep, I don't care if you have a future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are just the Jets.
Jets are the Jets. We'll make a note. Sam Darnold didn't play too good this week, but still found a way to win. Going to Soldier Field, Bears put up a pounding on the Panthers. See what I did there? Keep pounding. Panthers 36-10. Yeah. Caleb Williams, great game. Another 300 plus passing yards, 20 for 29. The rookie's coming out of his shell. 3-0 at home for the Bears to start the year.
This game was on Fox locally, so I did watch it. I got excited right away when Chuba had that beautiful, 38-yard run, I think, which is the longest of his career. I thought the Panthers, hey, could it happen again? Is Caleb going to somehow choke in this rookie year? And God, no, he didn't. And he looks good.
Yeah, he looks good. Still not going to look as good as Drake Maye will. Potentially the game of the week. Moving on here. Ravens-Bengals going to overtime. Ravens 41-38 after a big run by Derrick Henry sets them up first and goal after a missed kick by Evan McPherson. Zach Taylor, what are you doing? Do you want a job? Bengals move to 1-4.
I guess if you are a free agent punter out there, all you kids that want to punt, you're going to be asked to hold. Learn how to take a snap. Learn how to get the laces up.
Yeah, that was really bad. You can't do that. Moving on. Browns at the Commanders, another team in Ohio that's 1-4. Browns lose 34-13 to the Commanders. Jaden Daniels doing Jaden Daniels things again. He looks fucking good. Commanders 4-1. Are they a threat in the NFC East?
Yes, absolutely. They're going to run away and will be the leaders at the year end.
I love it.
Deshaun Watson. Oh, God.
Yeah, he stinks. Potentially.
Can you
maybe
believe we're saying that? He stinks. Wow.
Yeah. Potentially the second best game of the week. Jaguars getting their first win, 37-34 over the Colts. A game that I took the live under on, and then they managed to put up 24 points for the Colts in the fourth and 17 for the Jaguars to absolutely fuck my under. Jaguars might have jumped us for the worst team in the league, or are they still just as bad?
No, they've jumped us, and I hope for their coach's sake, who I do like him, I hope that he continues to improve Lawrence around, and yeah, I think you're going to see a Jaguar run, especially since they're going to their second home coming up these next couple of weeks. The London
Bills at Texans. This actually might have been the second best game of the week. Texans, CJ Stroud, 7 seconds left. Kaimi Fairbairn's 59-yard field goal walks it off for the Texans. Bills can't complete the comeback, move to 3-2. Texans are hot, 4-1, 3-0 at home.
Texans are, that remarkable young team that's doing it, and I am more worried about my Buffalo Bills, and they have to find some offensive weapons. I saw that it's got to be they have to take the Ravens approach with Josh running the ball with James Cook more.
Packers beat the Rams, go into LA, and beat them by 5, 24-19. Rams kept us a little closer than I thought they would, but Tucker Kraft, tight end 1, great waiver wire pickup this week in those season longs. I got him, brought me to a win. This game wasn't really worth a watch, though, to me.
No, but again, the adage that I said last week, sit your quarterback. Jordan Love looks good.
Next one, Raiders at Broncos. I can't remember if we said the Raiders or the Broncos. I picked the Broncos, though, in our thing, I believe. And, boy, they put up some points. Bo Nix, only a little bit above 200 yards, but still finding out how to move that ball. Defense, really great for the Broncos. 100-yard pick six for Pat Surtain. 34-18, final score, 3-2.
Bo Nix, we saw it in college. 2 spots there. All that kid is a winner.
All right, panic game of the week. The sky is falling. The 49ers are no longer good. Lose to the Cardinals 24-3 at the bottom of the NFC West now. Well, no, right above the Rams, but tied with the Cardinals at 2-3 there in the division. What's going on in San Fran? Are they a shell of themselves, or do they need CMC back that bad?
Yeah, they need CMC back, but I don't see that happening. And obviously, I heard some reports on another podcast I listened that he may consider retirement because of his double Achilles injury. That they're just, without that running back threat, will we see Debo more in the backfield taking some runs? I think they're going to have to balance their offense a lot more. Some highlights I saw, man, it's so funny watching Kyler Murray run that football. Just that little guy just juking around. It's fun.
Coming from a guy that picked up CMC in a trade this week for essentially free, I really hope he comes back for my playoff run, but we'll see. Next game, Giants going across the country to Seattle. We thought this was going to have Seahawks written all over it, but Giants pull out a win 29-20, move to 2-3. Seahawks 2 straight back-to-back losses. What do you think?
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes.
That's it.
Yeah.
I did hear a theory earlier. Apparently, every team that plays the Lions the week after, they're just losing. There's a Dan Campbell effect, something to pay attention to betting wise for the rest of the season. The Seahawks did play the Lions last weekend, Monday Night Football. And then last game of the week, the Sunday night game, that ended up becoming a Monday morning game as well. Didn't kick off till like 9:45 p.m. It was an absolute snooze fest. I was asleep by halftime, but Cowboys pull out the win 20-17 in Pittsburgh, moved to 3-2. Steelers, 2 straight losses. Justin Fields still playing well, though. Could we see a changing of the guard with Russell Wilson taking over at quarterback anytime soon?
Mike Tomlin, do not do it. Keep Justin in, because he is your future, not Russell. I know you want your streak of non-losing seasons, but do not do it. Keep Justin in.
Boom. That's it. That was much quicker. I don't know how quick. I got to start timing us on these, but that was great. All right. So from NFL to the college football, boy, did we have a week, Dad. This was potentially one of the most powerful weeks in college football in terms of how it can shift the college football playoff landscape later down the line when some of these teams have to also rematch again and conference championships and stuff, some of the good ones. Let's just go through really quick all of the upsets that we had. Alabama goes into Vanderbilt a week after Nick Saban said the only place not hard to play in the SEC is at Vanderbilt on the Pat McAfee show, and they lose. Number 1 goes down. You got Tennessee going into Arkansas, number 4, losing 19-14. They also took the goalpost in that one. 2 goalpost games that were gone. The Vanderbilt students brought it all the way down to Broadway. It was pretty funny. Miami could have been another victim of an upset, but had a miraculous comeback in the 4th with about 13 seconds left to win 39-38 against Cal, but did not look great. Number 9, Missouri gets absolutely smoked out by number 25, Texas A&M. Granted, I don't know how much of an upset that is. Texas A&M was favored, but you're on number 19 in the nation. These are going to hurt your rankings. And then number 10, Michigan, 27-17, going across country to Washington, loses that one. And then one of the biggest surprises of the weekend, I feel, Minnesota, USC, welcome to some Big Ten football, going into Minnesota, loses 24-17 as number 11. An incredible week of football for the polls. And let's not forget, here it is too. Friday night, forgot. Number 25, UNLV, losing to Syracuse 44-41 in overtime. What do you have to say about this crazy week of college football with so many upsets? And for some of these teams that we were talking about looking like powerhouses last week, how do you think this changes their outlook on the rest of their season, and what this could do to the college football landscape?
Well, I think first and foremost, looking up here, and you see now Missouri now is ranked at 21st. That's a huge drop. I didn't think, and everyone was high on Missouri. I think it was, a lot of their schedule, and can they pull off, one of the wins that they need to, and obviously they couldn't, and drop huge. I thought Texas A&M was going to win that one all the time. I think I did mention it was going to be hard for Michigan to go across into that beautiful park there with Washington. That occurred. I've been loving this Vanderbilt team. Now that's a big upset. That I think I did say take the points, but I didn't see Vandy pulling that out. We get these. I think the biggest surprise for me, besides the Vanderbilt, Alabama, is Tennessee has just been looking like a monster out there and losing to Arkansas. We get those every year. This is probably the earliest we've seen these upsets occur. I think it just goes back to the landscape of the travel that these teams are going to have to undergo, and obviously the NIL free agent transfer portal. You fill in what you need here and there, and obviously right now, kind of like the NFL, where everyone is hovering around 500, college football can do the same. Anybody could beat you on a given night. You get your fan base behind you. Obviously, Arkansas down there. I mean, they're crazy. Yeah, it can happen any week now.
Any week. You talk about it. It used to be just any given Sunday for the NFL. It feels like we're moving into any given Saturday and Sunday, any given weekend for football in general. I'm looking at the All-State Playoff Bracket Predictor, College Football Playoff Bracket Predictor on ESPN right now. And I've got 24 teams here with their percent to make the college football playoff. I don't know what this is based on right now, but I'm going to go through these, a couple of these. And some of them are surprising. Some of them definitely probably dropped after their losses this week. We got Ohio State, 92%, Texas, 91%, Miami, 76%, the third best, but also that's because of the ACC champion. It's going to get in.
Yeah.
Georgia, 75%, Alabama, 70%, Oregon, 66%, Penn State, 63%, Ole Miss, 56%, Indiana, 52%, Notre Dame, 48%, Tennessee, 48%, Boise State, 44%, Iowa State, 38%, Clemson, 36%, A&M, 33%, SMU, up to 31%, BYU at 22%, Army at 21%, Pitt, 17%, Kansas State, 16%, Washington State, 16%, Tulane, 15%, LSU, 14%, and Oklahoma, 13%.
I think from quickly you were just listing those off. I think a surprise that stood out to me, Clemson being at 33, even if they do not win the ACC, if it's a Miami, Clemson, and Miami pulls it out to win that ACC, I think Clemson, with what they've shown, yes, they played a crappy Florida State team, and DJ Unga looks like he's out because I saw a little cast on his arm there. So his probably his college football career is done unless he decides to somehow transfer again. I would still keep Clemson. I think even at a 2-loss, I think they should be able to get into those playoffs. Obviously, a lot of these losses helped my Notre Dame fans out there. Yes, at 48, that's almost 50, almost a pick 'em. But if I guess they're probably at 48 only because if a lot of these powerhouse, because they're not part of a conference, if you have a 2-loss Clemson that loses close to Miami, you're probably going to keep them in. So a lot with these major conferences keeping close as they are, I think it can only hurt Notre Dame's chances of getting in, even if they go 10-1.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
surprised. I obviously Army is surprised. Indiana, I think though, once Indiana gets into playing Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, wherever they fall, even Minnesota, I think Indiana will come back to earth.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't even think they have the hardest schedule. Let's see. They have Nebraska next weekend at home, Washington at home, at Michigan State, Michigan at home. Then they do go to Ohio State, and then Purdue at home. They miss Penn State.
That's an easy.
Oh no,
yeah,
that's an easy one. Yeah, they could get out of their 1 loss, potentially only 2 to Michigan. But right now, I'm taking that Indiana team over Michigan too. I know it's going to make for a fun rest of the year, and I'm excited once we get deeper into the regular season here and see what teams are going to be, needing to make a statement in their second to last game to try to, get into that playoff and see some of those tight games that we're going to see.
Which is great that obviously, they're saying you could have 2 losses and still get in for some of these teams. Obviously it's going to happen. But I think it makes that end of the year even more exciting. You know, you had, besides, once you got around Thanksgiving, besides having those traditional rivalry games being exciting, you're going to have that. Plus, you're going to have that need to win that game. And as you said, make a statement to be able to get into the playoffs, or at least a decent seeded to make these playoffs. So it's what we wanted for years, and it's great that we finally get a playoff in college football.
Absolutely. All right, well, that's enough about the last week. Let's move on. We're going to go straight to college football picks here for this week first, and then we'll get to NFL to wrap up the episode. Here, Dad, I'm moving on. It's great. We're finally starting to get some Tuesday games. We have football dating back to, it was like last Friday or something. We have football for the next 57 days to like bet on straight, between college football on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and Thursday night football, Monday night football, Saturdays and Sundays on their normal days, which is pretty awesome. I'm not going to go over most of these games, though. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, low-key, they're all kind of shitters, except for the nightcap one on Friday. We'll start off our predictions here for Week 7 of the college football season with Utah at Arizona State. Utah minus 6.5 point favorites, over under 45.5.
Man, again, we love Utah, but I think this could be a trap game. I think the Sun Devils could pull it off. I would take Arizona State points and an over.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like that. This does scream very trappy to me. I know it's going to be loud. I know they're going to be fucking hammered there at 7:30. Oh, those loud freaking Arizona State students, and they're going to be pumping it up, and this game's going to be weird. It's Friday night. You got a short week, and boom, after all of the chaos of last week and all of the upsets, it doesn't end now. Yeah, give me Arizona State plus 6.5. I might sprinkle Arizona State money line. Give me the over, too. I'm expecting some fireworks. Give it to me, Sun Devils. All right, Saturday, moving on. I don't even know. I'm not even going to address them. I will address them. South Carolina at Alabama. Alabama minus 21, over under 50.5 at noon on ABC.
Alabama really needs a big win. But if Vandy did it, and I've been on this team all along in their quarterback, I think I'll take South Carolina points. I think that's a lot.
Yeah. See, part of me, my head's telling me, after being upset as the number one team, you go back into Tuscaloosa, they're going to want to cover the spread. But the South Carolina team is a better team than that Vanderbilt team, I think. And so I think they could keep it going. I'll probably take the 21. I might tease it with something else, get it up to 28, 27 or something. Moving on. One of the many great ranked-on-ranked matchups we have this week, 3:30 p.m. on ABC. The first time in the SEC, the Red River rivalry, Texas at Oklahoma, number 1 at number 18, Texas minus 14, over under 49.5 in the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. What's going on for this game, Dad?
Well, we saw it last year. Oklahoma coming back at the end to win. I think, ranking aside, these teams hate each other. But if Texas wants to hold on to that number 1 ranking, because if it's even close, which I think it will be, I'll take Oklahoma and the points. Ohio State will be knocking on the door saying we're number 1.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to really attack a side here. I feel like it's a little weird. I might tease this one with South Carolina. Go Oklahoma, tease them up to plus 20, along with South Carolina plus 27. I do think I'd go the over in this game, though. I think we can definitely see 30 points out of Texas and 20 points out of Oklahoma, and that hits that over right there at 49.5. So I think that one's going to look pretty easy. Next game at 3:30, instead of CBS, switch the channel over to CBS, or ABC CBS. We got Penn State, number 4, at unranked USC. Before they lost this week, this would have been another ranked-on-ranked matchup, another one that people had been looking forward to for the last couple weeks of college football. But still, nonetheless, a great game between two great programs. West Coast game here. We got Penn State favored by 5.5 points, over under 47.5. What are you feeling?
The over, and this is the game for Penn State right now for the season so far. If they do not pull out a win, they'll be that fraud type team. Could be Franklin's job. I'd say this could be his job. He's got to. They have to win, and win convincingly, to keep that number 4.
Yeah, or even potentially move up, because 2 and 3 are playing this week. We'll get into that later. But no, I think this is just as easy as when they played West Virginia at the start of the year. Penn State was favored by like 8.5 points. And I was telling you, I was like, that line, it shouldn't be like that. Penn State's going to beat the brakes off this team. I'm pretty sure they did, like 34-16. I think I'm reading this game the same way. Penn State, I think, should be 8.5, at least, point favorites over USC right now. Even if they're at home, USC got introduced to Big Ten football last week against Minnesota, and it didn't go well for them, even though they were in Minnesota. Now you get a hungry number 4 Penn State team coming into your house that is not going to give you any room to breathe. They don't want to be the team that you rebound off of after the loss to Minnesota. I'm going to be nuking Penn State minus 5.5. All right. Still staying at 3:30. We're going to move over to ESPN. We got California, who almost upset Miami there. I'm going to give them some respect because they did play a great game, and I will put them in our little rundown here. At number 22, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh minus 3, over under 59.5. Pittsburgh. Okay. You know what? I'm going to disagree with you here. I'm going to go Cal plus the 3. I don't know if they'll win this. I'll take the points, though. Potentially win it by 1. I was betting on Pittsburgh this weekend against a very bad North Carolina team. And there was time in that game where I was just like, I think they should be playing a lot better than they are. They should be up a lot more points than they are. I don't know if they're playing to their full potential. I know they'll be back at home, but you've got California, very emotional game. You lose that one at home in front of your fans, college game days there and everything. Give up a terrible comeback. All right, what a way to get back than to go into another now ACC opponent's home stadium, another ranked team, a chance for you to win this game, potentially get into the rankings, sneak in there if you do it convincingly and stayed that close with Miami. I'll take California plus the 3 points, even if they don't pull out the win.
Hey, I'm going to give you a little something here, little sprinkle of something. I'd watch that field condition.
Oh, good point. Yeah, after all the rain and shit that we had last night, and
you just had a Monday night game there. Yep. I'd stay in Pittsburgh. Or Monday morning game. Yeah. I'd still stay Pittsburgh because they're going to know the field conditions a whole lot better than Cal will.
That's a good point. I like that. All right, moving on to 4:00. I know they're not ranked anymore, but we've been talking about them the last couple of weeks. They want to stay interesting. We got Arizona going into Provo, Weirdo Provo. At 4:00, though, to face number 14 BYU. BYU minus 4, over under 49.5.
I'd take the over, and BYU will win this game.
Yeah, BYU minus 4. Give me the over points. Points. I love weird points in Provo. I love Provo. We love betting on Provo. All right. I'm going to just completely skip Mississippi State at Georgia because I saw that as a 32-point. Not doing that. But we will move on to this one. 7 o'clock on ESPN. Primetime game on ESPN.
Why is this so exciting? Why is this so exciting?
This is why this is going to be exciting, because Boots will be on the ground in Knoxville, Tennessee this weekend for a New Era podcast, at least one half of it, for the checkerboard game, for the redemption game for Tennessee after losing to Arkansas last week and being number 4 and being so close. You could have had a conversation that they could be number 1 after all that happened last week if they pull out a convincing win against Arkansas. And oh boy, they're coming back to a night game back in Neyland, and they're checkering out that stadium. And I'll be in there loud and drunk and full off some good brisket from a tailgate. And it's going to be all over for Tennessee minus 15.5. Give me the Vols to roll the Gators this weekend. I will be throwing a nuke on the Vols in person.
I'll agree. Tennessee is a lot more, should be a lot more powerful team than they produced this past week coming home. And I'm just going to put out a feeler right now. We will probably have an evening podcast next week as well.
No, I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know.
You might sober up by then.
I'll sober up by then. But also, here's the thing, too.
I might have to bail you out.
No. This line came out 2 weeks ago, initially, I think. And it was like Tennessee minus 20.5. And then after the upset, you're telling me you're giving me more points for Tennessee. Tennessee minus 15.5 now. I was going to nuke it at 20. I think they're beating him by 3 touchdowns. But now you're giving me 15. This is a 37-20 game that still covers. But I don't even know if Florida's going to put up 20. That is a dog shit team. Tennessee's going to be out for blood. That 15.5 is too easy. All right. The game of the season, as of right now, could potentially be back-to-back weeks.
Mm-hmm.
2 out of 3 weeks. I forget.
No.
We had Alabama, Georgia 2 weeks ago now. Ohio State traveling cross country. A little bit. To Oregon, into Autzen Stadium for the number 2 Buckeyes against the number 3 Oregon Ducks. OSU favored by 3.5. Point total 52.5. What are we seeing here in this art piece of a game, Dad?
If Oregon had to go to Ohio State, the big horseshoe, I could see that 3.5 favorite. But Ohio State's going into that crazy Autzen Stadium, that damn duck on that motorcycle. Oregon and their quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, will win this game. And crush Ohio State's chances to be number 1.
See, this one means something to me. Because Mr. Pregnant Dino, I know he listens to these. We made a bet preseason that when the Buckeyes go into Autzen on week 7, on October 12th at 7:30 p.m., he said that the Buckeyes would walk all over the Ducks and they would whoop them and they would show why they're the best team in the nation. And then so we put some money on it. A gentleman's bet, some would say. And so I could be dumb and I could still stand on my ground, right, and double down. I've already got money on it. Why would I do it again? Why would you already bet the side? Let's just try to play some player props or something. No. I don't need the points. You can leave them at the door. I don't need the 3.5. You can keep them. Give me the Ducks money line. You're not coming into Eugene and winning this game. You want to say, oh, we got to introduce Oregon to Big Ten football. Well, no. You're about to be introduced to some Oregon football on Saturday. Give me the Ducks to roll.
Absolutely. The talk about their coach needing to beat Michigan because he hasn't for a while. I think this is going to be an absolute wake-up call and go, holy crap, we should have never invited them into this league.
We should have never signed off on it.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oregon's not a team to fuck with. Oregon's not going to be that, just because they're a high rank, just like Michigan is every year. And no, this is Oregon's for fucking real. And they're winning this game at home. The fact that, and you're right, you bring that, I don't understand. I know Ohio State has looked good. But if you're going to favor them, you got to give them 1.5 points here, man. How are they getting almost 4 points in Oregon? There is something wrong with that. And there's going to be some people that see that, and they're going to think the same thing at us, and then they're going to get in their heads. They're going to be like, well, if Vegas has them favored by 3.5, but we don't think they should be favored, maybe Vegas knows something. Give me the Buckeyes. No, Vegas doesn't know something this week. It's going to be the Ducks. Back to 7:30 ABC. Number 9, Ole Miss going into Death Valley at night. LSU, number 13. Mississippi. Ole Miss, minus 2.5. Over under 64.5 points in this SEC barn burner, potentially. What you got here, Dad?
Lane Kiffin, to prove that he doesn't want to go to Florida, will have to win this game. And I think Ole Miss will do it. Even in that loud, crazy-ass stadium, I think Ole Miss, to prove, I mean, they've had an easy run at it. They said, everyone said their schedule was easy. You get by a couple games. Ole Miss will do this and move up, and because of some other craziness, will move up in the rankings.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Jackson Dart. I think Ole Miss is fun. They're fun to watch this year. Outside of that loss that they did have to Kentucky, they're a fun team. They're a good team. And no disrespect to LSU. I know, I'm not going to fault them for the AP voters, I think, placing them incorrectly here. But you look at LSU and this team that in week 1 lost to USC 27-20. Then beat Nichols 44-21, at South Carolina 36-33, at home versus UCLA 34-17, at home versus South Alabama 42-10. I just don't understand, what has this LSU team really done to prove themselves this year? Their best loss, their only loss, is to a team that we had high expectations for in USC in the preseason, but we just saw them lose to Minnesota last week. Your best win is against a South Carolina team that
nearly won it
3.
They nearly won that game.
Yeah, won that
they were
game.
In the lead. Yep.
They should not be competing with you if you're supposed to be the number 13 team in the nation. I know they're really going to want to ride off the LSU home crowd advantage and everything like that, but no, give me Mississippi. And then last one that I'll give us here, Dad. I know they're not ranked, but got to talk about prime. Kansas State at Colorado, 10-15 on ESPN. Kansas State minus 4.5 points, over under 56.5.
Yeah, I'd take Colorado because even if they find a miraculous way to win it, I think it will stay close. I think it'll be a competitive game, especially being in Boulder. Yeah, take Colorado. Points.
Take Kansas State points. I'm just going to keep betting against fucking Colorado until it works. I don't like them. All right. That was a good little rundown. Now we'll go to NFL. All right. Just to end off this episode. Right. Let's power through these very quickly.
Let's.
Starting Thursday. 49ers at Seahawks. 49ers minus 3.5, over under 47.5.
49ers will win.
49ers minus 3.5. Give me the under. Jaguars at Bears in London, 9:30 a.m. Bears minus 1.5 points, over under 44.5.
The Bears are actually the home team here, but it will not work over in London. Jacksonville wins. That's their home.
I think yes, it is their home. However, this is both their first weeks traveling there. It's going to affect both teams. And if you don't take travel into account, if you're giving me the Bears over the Jaguars on a neutral site by 1.5 points, I will be taking that 1.5. Commanders at Ravens. Ravens minus 6.5, over under 52.5. Wow, that is a large total for a freaking NFL game.
Well, because the Commanders have been putting up a lot of points, but this Baltimore defense, I don't think Jaden has faced yet. Kyle Hamilton will get a pick 6. Ravens will win.
Are you taking Ravens minus 6.5?
Yeah.
Well,
Because
I'll take
6.
Okay, I'll take Commanders plus 6.5. I guess I don't feel good about it. I'm not going to bet that game, but if I got to lean one way in this game, that's what I'm going to say. Bucks at Saints. Saints minus 2.5, over under 45.5.
Buccaneers. They're for real.
Yeah.
Baker is
Yeah.
for real.
Bounce back. Going to be mad after the Thursday night loss. Give me Buccaneers on the money line. Leave the points at the door. Plus 108. Browns at Eagles. Eagles minus 6.5, over under 43.5.
Oh, yeah. Take the under and take the Eagles points.
Yeah, I don't know about the under, but I'm definitely taking Eagles points. I know people are going to be scared off because of these large favorites so far this year, but Eagles coming back after a bye, going to get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back, I think. Browns look terrible. Give me Eagles minus 8.5. Colts at Tennessee. Colts favored by 1.5 points, over under 43.5 points.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird little snoozer game, but yeah, take Indianapolis because Joe Flacco will find a way.
Yeah, give me
It's
Colts minus
a
1.5.
game of backups.
Well, I don't even know if it's just that. I just think Tennessee. I don't even know if the Patriots are the worst team in the league. I think the Tennessee Titans are. So, give me the Colts. Funny I say that. Texans at Patriots. Texans minus 7, over under 37.5.
Minus 7. We are a New England sports podcast. Let's take the Patriots and the points.
If Drake Maye starts, I'm taking the 7. If he's not, I'm taking the 7 with Texans. Cardinals at Packers. Packers minus 5.5, over under 49.5.
Green Bay points.
Give me Cardinals points. Give me over 2. I think this could be a little shootout.
Yeah. Yep.
And even if it's not, I think it's a complete copy and paste of the Commanders versus Cardinals game 2 weeks ago, which would be like 42-14 for the Packers. So I wouldn't have my Cardinal spread, but the Packers could theoretically cover this themselves. Almost. Chargers at Broncos, our first 4 o'clock game. Chargers minus 3, over under 35.5.
I mean, Bo Nix is finding a way to win these games, but I think Jim Harbaugh and his team will be up. I'll take the Chargers.
Chargers coming off of a bye. I don't know if I'm going to touch any of that spread because, like you said, Bo Nix is doing things. But I think I'll root for Bo Nix in one way. Give me the over 35.5. I think they're accounting too much for the Chargers' slow run game. I think the Broncos, this is a team that can put up some points. They're not no slouches. We saw this last week. I think that total is just a little too low. Steelers at Raiders. Steelers minus 3, over under 36.5.
I'm almost going to say take the under on this one. Wondering how any of these teams can offensively score. It'll be, I think the defense will outscore the offense.
Yeah, no, 100%. Give me the under 36.5. And don't attack us. I mean, if you're going to, I think it's Steelers minus 3, but Falcons at Panthers. Falcons -6.5, over under 47.5.
Falcons will cover.
Yep, Falcons -6.5 until the Panthers defense can look like they want to keep the Panthers offense in games. Give me anything that's below a 10-point spread against them, honestly. Game of the week potentially. Lions at Cowboys. Lions -3, over under 52.5. A little repeat of that. What was it? A Monday night game last year where the Lions got robbed on that weird call at the end.
I'm going to take Detroit. Still, the Cowboys have been finding a way to win, just limping through the first quarter here of the football season. Nope, take Detroit.
Yep, you take Detroit -3 here. Dallas needed this win against the Pittsburgh Steelers this last week to get to 3-0 so that they could afford to have a loss to Detroit in week 6 and go 3-3. This is Detroit coming off the bye. I think this one's pretty easy. Bengals at the Giants, Sunday Night Football. Who the fuck scheduled this?
Yep.
Cincinnati at New York. Cincinnati -3.5, over under 48.5. That's a really bad Sunday night game. Wow.
Yeah. But Cincinnati will take Cincinnati in the points.
Yeah, I'll probably take Cincinnati, but I'm loving under 48.5. I know the Cincinnati defense has been bad. I know the Giants are bad, but I think that's just too inflated. And then Monday night, Bills at the Jets. Bills -3, over under 41.5. Dad, to round out the week, what do you got in this one?
My Buffalo Bills comeback win. They find a way because the Jets are going to do Jet things. And I think I would take the over.
I'm not touching the total, but give me the Buffalo Bills. Like Pat McAfee and his crew like to say, Buffalo Bills. Bills. Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills -3.
Nope.
Huh?
Nobody can, what is it? Nobody can round. I don't know what they're saying is. I forget right now. It's late.
Yeah, you're losing it. All right, yeah. Give me the Bills, though. Give me the Bills -3. I think they probably win this game by 10 points or a touchdown. And that is our picks of NFL Week 6. Yes. NFL Week 6 and College Football Week 7. Moved through pretty quickly today, Dan. That was pretty good. Our usual time for these, we're cutting down a couple minutes per episode, so we'll get it working eventually. There's a lot of stuff to talk about now, though. A lot of stuff.
There is a lot of stuff to talk about. And I talked to the guys and I said we go an hour and 40 usually, and they were like, oh, okay, when I was talking about our podcast. So yes, we're never going to be that 45-50 minute podcast. We're not going to hit the 2+ hours. We'll get close, but I think we're a decent number. Again, hopefully y'all get a lot. I mean, we're covering a lot, not just our New England sports, and it'll be more when the Celtics get in, but we're hopefully, if you like betting, you're getting some of our takes and making some money.
Know what I call us? I call us like the perfect road trip podcast. Once you get above 2 hours on the road, you start to get antsy. You got to shit. You got to take a piss. You got to get off the road. Got to get a snack, maybe a little drink. Who knows? You go less than an hour, you're like, well, this is just a commute. That 130, 150, that's where we're at. We're the perfect road trip
podcast. Love that.
But
that should be the title. That should be the title this week.
I might. Yeah, I could probably do it. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys listening in to the big episode 40 of A New Era podcast. As always, if you would like to keep up with us on social media, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at A New Era Podcast, on Facebook, A New Era Podcast, And if you'd like to email us any questions, concerns, or funny business, a new era podcast at gmail.com. We love you. We appreciate you listening. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 41.
Love you, son.
Love you, Dad.